I'm the only thing standing between this city and chaos. Guys, please keep the memes out of general chat. I'm going to have to start banning.
Welcome to another episode of Core Discussions. My name's Lexi. I'm the host and moderator of this.
And my name's Max. I am the graphics coordinator, I guess you could say, and I run the social media accounts.
I am Bobby D3. I am the author of this group.
I'm Ian Catan. What's up, people? I'm the editor, and I do a lot of things behind the scenes. Yeah.
I'm Vitamin J. Let's get it.
I'm Hunter. I'm just coasting on y'all's success.
It's your boy, Big Joshy55. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you have any opinion on what we're discussing.
Yes, please.
All right, so today we are dropping that episode just randomly in the week to talk about our thoughts and our opinions on the latest Batman movie. Again, the Batman with Robert Pattinson and directed by Matt Reeves. Oh, gentlemen, and wait, before we start, just want to put this out there for those of you guys, and it's in the title. This is a spoiler review. If you have not watched it, we will spoil it for you. So if you don't want it to be spoiled, not watch this review, watch the movie, then come back watch this review. If you don't care if it's spoiled before you watch it, that's fine. Then keep watching the review. All right? Awesome. So, gentlemen, we're going to start off with the usual of just give me your general overall thoughts of the movie.
Fantastic. It was a really good movie. To me, it's a top 3 Batman movie of all time.
I would agree with that. I was telling the guys yesterday, I feel like it's on par, maybe even a little bit better than Batman Begins. Not up there as Dark Knight, but it was still an amazing movie. Matt Reeves did a fantastic job directing, and I love the cast list. It was amazing, very good.
Yeah, I would agree. It was it was very good. It's a different perspective on Batman than we've seen before. You know, usually it's like just straight action hero, but this one's definitely more cerebral, more of the detective angle, which was good. But I enjoyed it immensely. I mean, like you said, Josh, I didn't think it was quite as good as Dark Knight. It's not at that level, but it was very good.
I don't think it's fair to compare any Batman movie as another Dark Knight. It's just not fair.
Well, I mean, this is the best comic book. That's the best comic book movie ever made.
Yeah, it was a good attempt to try to get up there. It was close.
You gotta like this be perfect to get close to that range. That's unfair to ask anyone.
Y'all spoke glowingly about it. I'm just gonna say this: it didn't need to be as long as it did. There's some sort of trimmed down.
Whoa, we're just general overall take.
Boy had to go to the bathroom. Okay, it was bad.
And he almost fell.
Oh my gosh.
Look, it's dark. I didn't see the step.
That's why he's really mad, because he almost embarrassed himself. That's why.
Yeah. He had a beer. He was drunk. You know.
I mean, that's kind of on you. That's kind of on you. They told you beforehand it was 2 hours and 50 minutes.
It went before the movie too.
You should have planned your drinking better. Thinking about
Pretty decent scene too.
I held it in like a man, so.
Yeah,
Same here.
I was smart about it. Yeah, I had to go at the end, but I was smart about at what. I thought about what I was drinking beforehand because I was like, I can't go during this movie.
It wasn't happening. I will also say that this is a movie that you're probably going to have to see a couple times to really get it all together, because there's probably some stuff you may have missed. So in our watch of the movie, we had a lot of distractions going on in our theater, so I do need to see it again when there's not.
A very rude patron next to Hunter that, just talked a lot and released some flatulence during the movie.
Yeah, let's say.
I cannot believe Homeboy literally farted beside me, dude. I'm so pissed, dude. I'm like,
yeah, that would take me out of the movie for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
PSA for everybody out there. Let's have some decorum in the movie theaters, okay?
Yeah.
Let's have.
Please.
All right. Vitamin J, you just saw it recently.
Yeah. So I saw a few hours ago. I liked it. I thought it was one of the better. interpretations from a graphic novel because obviously they took pieces from like stuff like Long Halloween. So in terms of that aspect, I thought it was really good. It was one of the better like dark Batman stories that they've done because like even like Dark Knight and stuff, it was like it has some color into it. This was very dulled down and you know you couldn't
Gritty.
really gritty. Yeah. So in terms of that, I like the atmosphere. What's interesting, it was funny is like when we were leaving the theater, there was this girl talking to her boyfriend, and she was complaining that it wasn't like Marvel. But the boyfriend did he clapped back. He's like, "What'd you think it was gonna be?" He's like, "That's the whole."
Wow.
He was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Well," he's like, "That's the whole thing. It's dark."
They broke up
Batman,
that
you
night.
want, like,
I thought that was funny that I heard that exchange as I was leaving.
Yeah, I'll say for myself, I really did enjoy it. I actually I do enjoy The Dark Knight, but honestly, I did like this movie more, and I'll explain why throughout. But part of it is I like this version of Batman more. Oh my God, your face!
No, okay. So no, okay, I kind of I won't agree with Ian, but I will say that in terms of adapting a graphic novel, it did a better job than The Dark Knight. Like in terms of adapting the overall mythos of Batman, it did a better job than Dark Knight.
This Batman, he seemed like an actual character. No, like I really do like the other movies too, but this Batman had more of a character to him in my personality. I really enjoyed the detective work. I really enjoyed like the other cast. Like this felt more real to me, if that makes sense. But I'll get into it.
No, it doesn't make sense.
Ian, here's your screenshot for this week. Just get all of us doing this to you.
Nah.
Ian, I have to disagree with you. You do make some valid points.
Did you
Okay.
hear what Ian just said?
What? It's better than Dark Knight?
Yeah.
I mean, I was gonna say I disagree, but I could see where you're going with from what he was talking about. This Batman just might have been more for him.
Yeah.
Oh, and it was a really good movie. For me,
it was.
this was the second best Batman. It passed Begins for me. It edged out Begins.
I got less to do.
Yeah,
from the
I
beginning.
won't comment on that.
I from the beginning really enjoyed the idea. I will say to those out there, there might be some bias for me because the Riddler is my favorite comic book villain, and I was so excited when I heard that's who they were going to do.
So I would argue that there's not enough Riddler in this movie. I wanted more Riddler.
Yeah.
I will add that to that. I would say yes. Did I want more? Yeah, but I still felt like with the amount they gave me, it wasn't too much. Because the whole thing was it was a bat. From the very beginning, I love the title because it says The Batman because it's a Batman movie.
Yeah.
And the Riddler is supposed to elevate the Batman in this story, and I thought they did a very good job. Could they have used some more Riddler? Yeah. I will also say, Dark Knight probably could have used a little more Joker. I want to mind it. I'm not upset with it. So it did a great job.
I was glad they didn't have. I mean, I was fond of Riddler because I didn't want like a lot of scenes with him chewing up scenery because, like you said, it is supposed to be more focused on Batman. At least with this one. So I was perfectly fine with the amount of Riddler that we got.
I just like Paul Dano a lot. So.
But yeah, Paul Dano is a really good actor.
Was a great choice for it.
Okay.
Yeah. So Phil, do you want to start about like the beginning of the movie?
Yeah. Now let's move into the beginning of the movie. Big Josh, you were the first one who wanted to talk about it, and let's go into that.
Absolutely. So to start out, it's kind of like a narration almost. But there's just so many like where there's scenes where they just shoot it where you're waiting for the Batman to pop out. It's teasing you and it's gonna come. You think it's gonna come. I just love how they shot that sequence. Like they did it like maybe 3-4 times. And like by the time you're actually expecting him to, you're like, is he gonna show up or not? But honestly, for it to be a Batman film, this is probably like one of the first ones where they reference his parents' death, but they don't actually show it.
Yeah, thank God.
Exactly. I'm so glad. Like, I'm tired of seeing Martha.
How many times can we see them die?
Exactly.
On that note, really fast too. I really love there's many scenes in this movie that are just like beautiful and just look like straight out of a comic book kind of like those scenes of like I've never really thought about like when the other people like see the Batman signal, what do they think about? Because in movies and comics and shows, it's always like, oh, it's a plot point, you know, something's gonna happen with Gordon or something, you know, something's gonna happen there. But what happens with it is the other people see it and they're like, oh, Batman's out there, he's gonna get me, and you feel like this kind of like monster like feeling like, oh, he's gonna come out of the shadows. So it's beautiful. I love that scene so much.
Yeah, he does feel like he is a monster, you know. And I love the line. I love the line he said. I think it was something like, he's like, they think I come out of the shadows, but I am the shadows, or whatever. So that was like super badass.
Ooh, shivers.
I will say that was one of my things, and I will say there's a couple things that it did. You could kind of tell that Matt Reeves was a big fan of The Dark Knight because there's a couple things he does that's taken from The Dark Knight, but he does it better. Because that was one thing that he did. That if you remember in The Dark Knight, in the beginning, when they used the bat signal, all the villains are like running away, and they're like, "What's the chance you're gonna run into him?" And even they talk about it in the first, like Joker's real big first scene. He says, "I know why you guys have your meetings in the day because you're scared of." But this one shows you the fear that Batman. Really like the spray can going into the shadow, and you can see like because it gets to a point. Batman is Gotham criminals' boogeyman.
Yeah,
they are. So that is what he is. He is the boogeyman, which is the point. That's what he wants to be. Is the fear? Put the fear of God in every criminal. That you better be careful because I might be right there and I will find you. Or that guy who gets hit by the car because he's about to run down the alley, then sees the bat signal. And it's kind of cool. They show you they're not as much scared of the cops, but they're so terrified of Batman.
Yeah.
Talk about that fight scene in the beginning. Oh my god, dude!
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
I mean, I would say this movie, Matt Reeves shoots the fight scenes so beautifully. There's hardly any cuts, so there's not a lot of jump cuts. Just films it and you just watch it, and it feels more real.
That's the one thing about the Nolan trilogy that I think you can really criticize is like Christopher Nolan does not do a great job of shooting fight scenes, with the exception of the Bane and Batman scene for the first fight.
That's why when Nolan does fight scenes, he zooms it in a lot because if you look at the choreography around Batman in the fight scenes, it's not great.
Yeah,
I'll say it's not just Nolan. Like even Marvel has one. Like in Civil War, Scarlett Johansson does one maneuver. They do 8 cuts.
Well, and remember she knocked someone out doing a hair flip when she was tied up in a chair.
Yeah, there's too many cuts in the movies. Like, but Matt Reeves is like maybe 1 or 2 throughout the whole fight.
Yeah.
So much more better, so much more beautifully.
In the beginning, I like the way they shot Batman fight scenes because it just showed how barbaric it was in the beginning and how he relied on being vengeance. Obviously because that was a major theme throughout the movie. That's how he was, barbaric in the beginning, and then as the movie went on, he would learn that he can't just be a symbol of vengeance.
Yeah, he didn't even like go by the Batman for like the first whole half of the movie. He was like, "I am vengeance." Like, I love it.
I don't think anyone even called him Batman the whole movie. I'm not sure.
I think it was Gordon. Yeah, I think.
Gordon.
Because Gordon kept calling him like. Gordon kept calling him like, "Hey man," like he kept calling him his man, and I think he called him Chief one time.
Penguin once calls him that. Penguin says something, but
and the Riddler did.
The Riddler.
Yeah.
That's very rare.
But yeah, most people don't. And I would say Robert Pattinson's Batman voice was really good.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
To add on what you guys said before, like this movie felt very practical. Like even like when Batman like shot down like many stories, like it looked like he was actually doing it. Where like one of the problems I have with Marvel is it feels like a big video game sometimes. Where some people always complain about CGI and like the prequels and Star Wars, but Marvel I swear has like 3 times that much. But this movie, the Batman movie, like it just felt like everything was like real. Like him just being like fighting people and like all the scenes that happened, it felt like you were actually there, like seeing the fight instead of like this is too crazy. I can't believe this. No, it's like you believe what you're seeing.
I will say, like, because you said it felt more real. I did appreciate this movie, and I appreciated it a lot. that the people Batman fought weren't instantly KO'd. Like, they got
yeah.
up and just, like, ran away. That's
Yeah.
so much more realistic than, like, them
Well,
instantly getting KO'd for, like, 20 minutes. Like,
And-
it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And they actually showed injuries, like the one dude with a broken nose. Like, it's
Mhm.
amazing how quick people recover in other movies. But yeah, they still had lasting injuries.
One person I'm like, Batman, I think you might have killed him. You know, all those punches to the head, you might have done him in.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I think what they did, and if we're talking about fights, I liked and it's the fight you see in the trailer when he like fights that very first guy who says, "What the hell are you supposed to be?" and walks up to him, and you can see him just go in.
Failing on the dude, man.
If you probably did like any other Batman's would have just hit him down one hit, just knock him out.
KO.
Yeah, it'd been a
KO
one-hitter
one
quarter
time.
for sure.
Yep.
But because he's a young Batman, he just wants to inflict pain. He was like, no, I'm gonna hurt this guy. I'm gonna make him know, don't mess with me. And I think that was the great part of you could see he messed up. And also, Batman in all of his fights took damage.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
kind of to illustrate like he's not perfect. He's still a
he's not
young
invulnerable.
Batman. He's still taking all these hits because he's still young and new at this.
Yep.
You can't
And-
fight every 5 people at once.
And with him being young, it does show that he hasn't quite gotten the balance of Bruce Wayne and Batman down yet. Like, later on, he'll find the balance. So yeah, I could be a playboy and be a crime fighter. But right now, he doesn't have that balance yet.
Yeah, bouncing off of what you're saying, Bobby, I think Robert Pattinson did an amazing job as Batman. And I'm not going to say it was like the writers or like just how the script was, perhaps, but I feel like his Bruce Wayne could have been a little bit better. Like, he did do a good job of kind of trying to, you could see that the conflict between his life as Bruce Wayne and then his life as Batman, like going back and forth. And I actually like how they made that a running joke with the dude whose nose he broke at the Falcon or the Maroni Club or Penguins Club or whatever. I like how they made that a running joke throughout the movie, like Batman first and then Bruce Wayne, and then Bruce Wayne uses what he learned to just go ahead and sneak in to avoid the fight, basically, becoming smarter, more of his detective skills, realizing that he would get done, more things get done as Bruce Wayne rather than the Batman. But for him to go back and forth, you could definitely tell that he's a younger Bruce Wayne, where he's not really caring about the models, the lifestyle, or the keeping up the namesake of Wayne, but more of just devoting his time and energy to, I guess, stopping the underworld criminals of Gotham. So
Exactly. I think it was kind of the same in Batman Begins. Like, he didn't have that balance down either.
mm-hmm.
Eventually, he finally will get that. Maybe they're doing the sequel where he's finally starting to learn how to balance his life as Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I imagine they'll do that in the sequel. What was I gonna say? But no, I think that was intentional. That they didn't really show too much of Bruce Wayne in this. I mean, like, I feel like most movies was in the Batman costume, which was amazing.
I think Andy Serkis did a good job convincing me that he was Alfred, like a grittier Alfred almost, matching the universe style. I don't know. Did they ever go back to him like after what happened?
In
After the hospital?
Yeah.
After the hospital scene,
Yeah,
no.
I would have liked some conclusion there, like going
didn't-
back.
Andy Serkis is bad. He's a good actor, and he would have been. I think he was good Alfred, but he was underutilized.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he'll
Exactly.
be
I mean, he
more
was
in the
maybe
sequel.
2 or 3 scenes.
Yeah, something like that one. He does help Batman a little bit, especially like with the Spanish part. Some of the funniest moments in the movie when they confront Penguin.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, like, with all the Batman movies, has there been a bad Alfred? I don't think so.
Oh, even like the Batman and Robin, I like the guy who played.
Yeah,
Alfred.
Michael
Yeah,
Go, whatever
sure.
his name was.
Mhm.
But he was the
fine.
only one he was the only Alfred for the whole 90s.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
also in the other
The-
one,
He-
Tim Burton.
Yeah, I feel like Alfred's been 100% hit rate.
Yeah,
Because
He
Jeremy
didn't know how
Irons
to
did
cast.
great.
yeah.
He doesn't know how to cast an Alfred.
It is. I mean, it is kind of bad. It is kind of hard to mess it up, though. You just kind of gotta give it the whole.
True, but I mean,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I know,
to
but
get
I'm
that,
sure
like,
someone's a way.
get that mentor figure like correct. How many times? I mean, they've messed up a lot of other things about Batman. So
Yeah, of course.
yeah, I will say like one. I mean, we can get into characters for characters as well.
True.
Of like, I think one of the things I'm wondering if that's why they left Alfred kind of more out of it is because Alfred's kind of the reminder that Bruce Wayne, bringing Bruce to like that kind of human element of himself. Because essentially, I would say one great thing this movie did is it got who Bruce Wayne is, and it's hinted at it in others. And I'm gonna be honest, probably Batman, the Ben Affleck Batman, kind of got it the best. Is that Batman is who Bruce Wayne truly is. That is who he truly is. Bruce Wayne is just a facade. That's all he is. It's a facade and character he plays. But Batman, at his core, is who he is. And Ben Affleck's one really kind of showed that, as well as Christian Bale's got into it. But this showed this is who, like, showed you the whole time. It's who he is. And that's why I think that whole Bruce Wayne Batman, he doesn't know, and you could kind of see there was that one scene, like, because Bruce, his humanity is kind of missing, because there's that one scene where Alfred puts his hand out for him after he tells him that thing about his father, and you could see just Bruce Wayne kind of like hesitate, like he doesn't exactly know what to do with all that.
And now, do you want to hear my hot take about?
We're about to get out of here.
If I got a hot take.
He's not
Rambo can stay. Rambo can stay. He's got the best hot takes.
Yeah, what's up? What's up?
Now, to me, if you would have put this movie in Spider-Man, new Spider-Man movie, this movie's going to stand the test of time better than Spider-Man.
Now, Bobby, what's going to help? It depends.
Let me finish, sir.
It depends entirely how the sequels do it. The sequels suck. Then
hold on.
The reason why it will hold is because in 20, 30 years, Spider-Man relies so much on nostalgia. In 20, 30 years, most people might not see the Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield movies. It won't feel the same.
Yeah.
See those two characters.
I think
it holds nostalgia too much for it to hold. Stand the test of time further down.
I think I agree with you, Bobby. I mean, I don't know. This movie had more style to it. I mean, Spider-Man 3 was, I mean, of course, very good, but it was still kind of a very Marvel movie. This one had more style. I think more staying power. I think I probably enjoyed the Batman movie more, even though I think the Spider-Man movie was more fun, but I still think I enjoyed the Batman movie more just because of how different it was.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing with Marvel movies. They're catered to the casual audience more so.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they do stuff like that. I mean, so the stories most of the time aren't going to be have the most substance to it. So I mean, it really just depends on what kind of person you are. The more I mean, they'll both be remembered well. It's just you probably will remember the writing and the Batman better. But
Spider-Man, you need the nostalgia for it, but in 20, 30 years, there may not be that nostalgia anymore for those previous Spiders, man. That's gonna hurt it.
Not to get into it, let's get back to the Batman review. It's not a comparison. Maybe another time we could compare, but I kind of see where you're coming from. I think Spider-Man, and by the way, Hunter, it's No Way Home, not Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3.
It's the Spider-Man 3. It's the third one,
no,
right?
Because... Yeah, no, it's No Way Home because Spider-Man 3 is an actual movie, and people might get confused because that's the one with Venom, or as Max likes to say, Venom Light.
No. I don't say Venom Light. Diet Venom.
Diet Venom. Zero calories.
It's with Tobey Maguire starring in it. There's two different Spider. Just because people will get confused, man. I just want to make sure there's no confusion. No Way Home.
They understand.
Okay, but so let's kind of get a little bit more into the story. So, Max, any characters stand out to you?
Batman. No. Before I do that, before I say that, yes, there is one. But first, let me say something from the beginning. I think one thing we haven't talked about is the musical score, and I think that was evident from the very get go when Batman walks in, when he's in the tunnel and they're waiting and they're when he's about to beat up the thugs and you just hear the footsteps and you hear that bass drop. I was like,
Dude, I have had that damn Nirvana song stuck in my head since yesterday. The whole time.
So have I. But we could talk about the music a bit later. But one character that stood out, I think John Turturro did a great job as Carmine Falcone. Well, I get confused. Is it Falcone or Falcone? I think I hear.
It's Falcone.
This should be Falcone.
It really just depends.
Falcone.
No, it's Falcone.
Yeah, but in the movie they said Falcone.
Well, no,
It's not who
they
you
said
are.
it. They said it both ways. They said it
both
both ways because like Batman and them said Falcon, but then Gordon says Falcone.
But then there's other
Either
people
way-
in the movie who called him like Falcon. I think Riddler called him Falcone.
See, I think one of the best. I think one of the best characters in the movie is Jim Gordon. I really
I
enjoyed
was like Jeffrey Wright,
Yeah.
Jim Gordon.
Jeffrey Wright's performance as Gordon. I
Same.
really enjoyed that.
Same.
I love it because it was filled with such of the classic noir type dialogue he had. He was filled to the brim with that. He even had like the accent for it too.
Yeah.
It works so
I thought the
perfectly.
chemistry between him and Robert Pattinson was really good.
Yeah, I would
I
agree
do
with
like
that.
that thing where he's like, "Man, I thought you'd hold that punch."
Yeah.
I
Can
did.
we also talk about how, like, some of the critics for this movie said that it was pretty humorless, but I mean, there was at least 4 times where I was laughing my ass off.
Yeah, like
Same,
putting your
same.
information on your thumb drive.
Yeah, exactly.
That was hilarious.
No,
Yeah,
the-
Jim Gordon
the
was like, "Yeah,
Penguin
this
scene-
guy's hilarious, all deadpan." That was hilarious.
The penguin scene when he's like, "You guys gonna untie me?" and he's still like hopping
Yeah.
over.
And he
they
waddles
beat
like
him
a
down, that's
penguin.
pretty funny.
Waddles
Waddled
like a penguin.
in that scene. He waddled like a penguin.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's
Something interesting y'all will know about the score is the guy who did it also helped do the score for Spider-Man: No Way Home. So
Did he really?
yeah,
great
He's just
job.
putting out bangers left and right. He's just like, I just do this in my sleep.
he's
Well,
done like all the Spider-Man movies and Doctor Strange.
Wow.
Well, he also used the same song the whole time. It was not. It was
Well, I
just
know,
that
isn't that
Nevada
crazy? He used
song
the
the
same
whole
song.
time.
Yeah, he used the same song the whole time, and I didn't care one bit.
I will say too, with Gordon as well, when him and Batman were both interrogating Penguin at the same time, and Penguin's like, "Why don't you guys start harmonizing? Like, you guys are working too well." Whatever he says. That part was also just super funny. Penguin I liked as well. He was like a mafia boss like person. Like he did a really good portrayal. My biggest thing with this movie is like I will say The Dark Knight. I feel like the costumes were a bit better because you could tell because the villains were like over like you could tell who the villains were just by looking at them. I wish the costumes in it you could like the Penguin had like his like little like cane or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it still was really good. Their portrayal in terms of like character was really good.
It's an early Penguin because he's technically not Penguin yet.
I wish they gave Penguin his cigar, but Warner Brothers wouldn't allow it, so that's not their fault.
Well, I mean, like I agree the costume in Darkness and other Batman movies are better because there was like same things about Pattinson's Batman costume that I don't like the gauntlets. Hopefully they change that in other movies, but I mean you could just say it's an early.
Year two.
Yeah, because I'm like you can't. I feel you can't. You couldn't bring out the cigar yet because he wasn't head of the mob. You could see he's going to be, but he wasn't the top dog yet. And I feel that's like a big
apparently Warner Brothers is very against cigars on their movies.
I just don't like how we didn't hear him laugh like.
Oh my god!
Well, maybe
awesome.
Plus he hasn't really like he hasn't like because he's not the boss. He hasn't really like fully embraced the Penguin nature yet. So
I would say Control did such a good job. I am looking forward to his TV show on HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did a great job making it not even look like Colin Farrell. Like, I definitely couldn't even tell.
I mean, there's no way I could tell if I didn't know prior.
Yeah. Did they call Penguin Maroney? Like,
no. That's a different character. That's who they put in jail. That's who they put.
I don't even think they call him by his actual name. I think the closest we might have got was Oz.
They called him Oz several times, and then there was like a document.
Wants to talk about when they went after him.
Yeah,
they would call him like Cobblepot or anything.
Yeah, because Batman calls him Penguin.
Yeah, Falcone calls him Oz, and then I think one time I cannot remember if they said it or if it was on a paper. His name Oswald was shown,
Yeah.
or uttered once, but they called
Yeah.
him Oz
And
most of the time.
And he introduces himself as Oz too in the iceberg.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah,
yeah.
but
So
Batman asked the Riddler if like the penguin is a flightless bird or whatever.
it's a bat, or no, the rat with
A
wings.
rat
Well,
with
yeah,
wings.
because he asked him if
Yeah.
rat with wings is a penguin.
Mhm.
So
Matt,
Oh,
you got any
speaking
other?
of that riddle, I solved that one quite quickly. I was pretty proud of myself.
yeah, yeah, I knew the justice one, but the other ones I was like, I would never in my life have gotten the URL one.
Yeah, I thought that
That
one,
was good.
that one was a bit of a reach.
You
I thought that was a bit of a reach.
I like the lying
Maybe
one.
to you, but not to Batman.
What was it? It was like, what happens to a politician that still lies?
A liar
Yeah.
who dies.
He lies
I'm
still.
I'm
That's
so
a
lying
lie
when they
still.
die.
Yeah, that was the first riddle. I knew that one because I've heard that one before. So but the flightless bird or the bat with wings. Once I heard that Totoro, like I didn't know Totoro was in the movie, and then once I heard he was Falcone, I was like, oh, that's the rat with wings. They're gonna do that because they mentioned a pigeon earlier.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I figured it out, but it wasn't because of that. But it was just like I was like, wait, didn't Falcone grow? And I was like, wait, he's the mob, so it's probably something with him. And that's why when they kept saying they said Falcone several times, like, they're probably hitting at Falcone, especially once old girl revealed that that's her father. So I was like,
I did
ooh,
like
probably him.
the face-to-face memes between Batman and Riddler. I thought that was very well done.
You're
Especially
talking
when
about
Riddler's like,
the
when they're in
Arkham scene?
yeah,
Yeah,
when
that was
Riddler
really
was
good.
like, I thought you were smarter than that.
Yeah, that was
Give
really
you
good.
more credit. Yeah, like
Yeah.
he didn't solve the last riddle, and that's what actually ended up causing the damage.
Well, and see the thing of because Batman couldn't have solved it without that police officer because Batman grew up so rich he didn't even know what a carpeting tool was, and so like he had no idea until that cop said it to him and he was like, oh, let's check under the carpet. It's like
Yeah.
I like that aspect of it.
I did like how the Riddler like knew Batman was Bruce Wayne, but he also because the camera was recording, but he
But
also
I
tried to
don't
play
think
like
the Riddler
Batman.
knew.
No,
He didn't-
Riddler
he didn't
No,
didn't
he
know.
didn't.
Riddler
Didn't
didn't
know.
know.
He
He
did.
was
I don't think he
Batman.
knew.
He
No,
didn't
he
know.
absolutely,
That's
absolutely did not know because then at the end, because they wanted to make you think that when he was saying Bruce Wayne that he knew, but then once he was talking, he clearly didn't know because it was that Batman was supposed to be the last target and he got away.
Well, that's the thing because
No, then in his apartment he did have like I know the real you and next to a
well,
picture.
because
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
thing
but
was
Yeah.
I don't think
But
I think that's more
that's
alluding to the
talking
history
to
of the Waynes
Waynes,
instead
yeah.
of the whole
It had a
Batman
picture
thing.
next to the bat symbol.
yeah, because my thing
Yo.
is that when he sent the bomb to Bruce Wayne, the letter to Batman was fireproof, but the bomb to Bruce Wayne, of course, wasn't. So why would he send a bomb to Bruce Wayne that he would die from? But then the
Yeah.
letter to
If
Batman
he thought,
was
since he
fireproof.
thought Batman was working with him.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so it didn't make sense. If he thought Bruce Wayne was Batman, why would he do that?
Yeah, he showed it again. That was just to mislead you to think he knew who he was, and then when he says that thing, we didn't get him. He was legit saying, "No, I didn't know you were Bruce. I didn't know
Yeah.
who you were." Because that
Well,
was otherwise
Yeah,
he
there's
wouldn't have
a
tried to
part
tell.
in that scene too where Pattinson he does a good job acting of where as Batman he realizes that oh no Riddler doesn't actually know.
Yeah,
who
he
I
did a really
am.
good job of with his eyes showing that. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, thank God.
Mhm. Okay,
Um,
we
you-
keep hitting around it, so I just got sorry about this, Josh. I gotta talk about this Riddler, man. Riddler. Oh my gosh! Again. Jim Carrey's one was, it's funny. It's funny but what what he did with making, I like they made it a modernized Riddler to a serial killer and what he would do. And I did like the way they used technology and modernizing Riddler to this serial killer and this whack job. Paul Dano, when I heard he was cast, I was like, interesting choice. Good, but interesting choice. Not who I would have first thought of. But
Homeboy's a brilliant actor.
his acting the whole time, from the second he shows up to right behind the mayor, right when you see him, you're like, oh god, this dude, and just the thing, they just got the character so right of Riddler. he's a whack job, and he's smarter than everybody, and he wants to prove it. And I like that Batman didn't solve his last riddle, because it kind of showed that, like, Batman, Riddler's a little bit smart, which is the character. He's supposed to be a little bit smarter than Batman, and there's something he can prove. But the way he pretty much used Batman to get Falcone, one, to kill Falcone, and figured out all this stuff, and you just see that. And even you see him staring. There's that one shot they show where he's staring as a boy at the Waynes, and he's in the background in the newspaper clip. Just everything about the character, that interrogation scene. Oh my god, how
Now-
Paul Dano changes from, like, because you really saw that, like, murdering psychopath of, like, and how he's so amused, but then Batman starts firing back at him, and you can see this guy is messed up. Like, oh, such great acting. Sorry, go ahead.
Now, Phil, would you say he did he's a better, I don't know, he did a better job than like Tom Hardy as Bane or Cillian Murphy as Scarecrow? Who would you say you liked more?
I would say I liked Riddler, but again, I'm biased. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
I think the only person who he didn't outdo was Heath Ledger, and probably
Well,
Joker and,
yeah, but that's no
Phoenix.
debate.
But
Man.
otherwise,
You might as well-
otherwise,
there's
I
no
think,
way he did better than him.
yeah, otherwise, I think character just he did better than the
I think
rest.
he did better than Scarecrow, but I really do love Tom Hardy's Bane.
Dude, Tom Hardy's Bane is so good, dude.
Yeah, it is really good.
But I think Riddler's top 3 of the Batman villains they have done.
Ian, you haven't talked much, man. What do you think?
I've been talking, but Riddler, he feels more like on the what I said before. He feels like an actual character. Where Bane,
No, I agree.
I just can't really like Bane. Like when he came out, you could tell like, okay, this guy's the big boss guy. Like, look at his mask, look how he talks and acts, look how he tells people how to do things. Like you can tell. And Riddler, you don't get that side of it. But the thing is, Riddler feels like an actual like person. Like this movie, I won't don't go too far into the rabbit hole of this, but they did talk about like some current events, and I would say like politicians and certain groups online. Don't go into that.
Yeah.
But it felt real to like current events. The way Riddler came across seemed like something that was something within the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
This is also a very side note. When he was singing, I laughed in the crowd. My theater laughed too.
Can we talk about the Riddler's last video? Like he was such a badass through the whole thing, or like such a crazy person. But then his last video is like he's like, "Hey guys," it was essentially like he was like, "Oh, like and subscribe if you like this video." That's the kind of vibe I got from it. I thought it was hilarious.
They were shouting us out when they did that.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Like, "Hey guys, thanks for the bomb info." Blah blah. I was like, it's such a different tone from the earlier movie. I thought it was hilarious.
That part was funny.
Oh, sorry.
No,
that was good.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Katanko.
Yeah. I'll say too, like that. My favorite part of this character was definitely when his like bomb started going off, and you could see like the boom, like him just mouthing like exactly. He was so calculated. He knew exactly when they were gonna go off. That part was that was great.
My only problem, I would say, with the Riddler, and it's not even a big problem. It's more of what I wish that they had did it in the film is actually showing Riddler, not more of setting up everything, but more how he found out all of the dirt on Thomas Wayne and Falcone. Like if there was like a interrogation or like a file or something. Like how did he know all of that had happened?
Yeah.
Dude, I know he's pretty smart, and I'm sure he's able to find that information. But he had to dig deep. Even Batman, like they showed like us having basically watching in Batman's shoes how he had to go about getting all that information. And like they didn't even give us who the rat or the informant was until like the climax of the movie. So like it would have been nice to see Riddler go through some of the trials of finding out all this information. But other than that, I thought it was a great villain, definitely top 3. And there was definitely elements to his character, especially in the beginning. Because I was is that Thomas? Is that Thomas Wayne? Like he's about to murder?
Yeah,
like then it wasn't.
That's kind of what I thought. But,
yeah, and then he's like just right behind the mayor. Like the whole time he's already in the house, and he's just like, oh, it was a great job. Definitely showing us another part of that character that we haven't seen with the likes of Jim Carrey. He was more zany, but I mean that was just his character. It's not his
I
fault.
like how they
so.
showed like the Riddler, like even when he killed people, he's not, he of course like he's not a very physical guy, and I like how he didn't get in a fight with Batman because like again he's not like he wouldn't even stand a chance. Like so, I mean,
Exactly.
I like how like, he never fought Batman, but like I like how when he killed people, like he was, it's just he's not very. You could tell like he's not used to like being in physical with people, and so they just did a really good job with that.
I also really liked how he sold how hurt he was when he realized that Batman wasn't actually helping him.
He was so hurt, dude.
Yeah. Credit to Paul Dano. He did that really well.
Yeah, I will say Paul Dano was a perfect casting choice. I think he fits the role very well.
I like how because like Paul Dano, like he looks like a dweeb, right? And so they did. I mean, that's the Riddler to me. Like he's not like he shouldn't be looking like a badass. Like he looks like a nerd. They did such a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Phil, I do have a question. Like for the sequel, who do you want the villain to be?
I don't know.
I would like. I don't know, Philip.
I would. Somebody mentioned it earlier, and they kind of had hinted about it, and I would really do. Honestly, it's my favorite storyline. I would really like them to do a Court of Owls.
Yeah, exactly. Because they touched on it. Because the Court of Owls is an elite group of higher up people, and they've kind of already touched on that storyline. So I really feel like the second movie should touch on that and do the Court of Owls because no one's done the Court of Owls before.
Yeah.
So. I don't want another Joker movie. I really don't.
Well, the rest
I don't want it. If I was them, I wouldn't want to do it second because The Dark Knight did it second, and I wouldn't want to parallel too much to that.
Yeah, I feel like it's hard it's hard to do it like in a realistic setting, but I would love a movie with a well done Mr. Freeze because he's such a tragic character. I think it could do well on the screen, but like how would you make it kind of realistic? I don't know. With like an ice ray and all that crap. I mean, I don't know, but I would really want. I don't know. I think it would be so cool to do well.
I mean, if you changed it like you did with Penguin, because like Penguin's supposed to be Penguin's supposed to be shorter and looking like more of like a penguin, but yeah, it would be so hard to do.
What about you, Josh? Max, and who y'all want as a villain?
I think the Court of Owls comment was spot on. They haven't ever even touched it, and I loved how they did it with the Batman animated movie. That Batman versus Robin? Like that was incredible, making Robin like choose a side, but then it would mean of course everyone's got their secrets and they're not telling him the whole truth. But that was just fitting that storyline. But it would be nice to get a Mr. Freeze movie as well.
Yeah.
Since Arnold, I don't think anyone's even dared to try to even write a character like that. I'd be okay with maybe a little more Catwoman, which we haven't even discussed that yet. But I do think Batman and Catwoman, like Batman trying to actually stop Catwoman, that would be nice. And there's no reason behind that, not for the cat suit or anything. Actually, riding a motorcycle.
I will take any villain over the Joker for the second movie, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be rushing to do the Joker.
Yeah.
Let's do Hush. Let's get Hush.
Yeah, see, Hush,
Yeah.
Hush, they did obviously the reporter was Thomas Elliott, and then when Riddler showed the newspaper clipping, it had the word Hush on it. So that obviously they're referencing Hush in that. So I would be fine. I would be totally fine. I just feel like if they did Hush, it would be like you would have to do another villain because not a lot of people probably know who Hush is.
You could still do like Penguin overarm too.
Yeah.
For me, I agree with what Big Joshy said. I would also like Mr. Freeze. He already talked about, but also I would love to see a good version of Poison Ivy. I feel like we haven't had like a good representation of her in like a long time.
Hey man, Uma Thurman.
I don't think we ever had a good representation.
I don't know.
Y'all don't like Uma Thurman?
I don't like the movie, but yeah, I mean,
no, her, no, I don't know. No, no, Arnold Schwarzenegger stole that movie of what I say.
True. Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, did anyone have more fun than him on that?
It's like if you take that movie too seriously, of course, it's a crappy movie. But like, if you know it's bad and like you're like, okay, I'm gonna watch this movie, you'll probably enjoy it.
Now, see, Josh, the villain I want next is the Phantasm.
Oh,
that
dude,
would
it'd
be
be
another-
fantastic. I would just be amazing.
Like for Vladio, they haven't done the choreographs or Phantasm yet, so I think either one would be great choices. I
Yeah, I wonder
love
how that would
Batman Mask of the
translate.
Phantasm, so that
Yeah.
should be that'd be my next villain.
Well, it would also be interesting if like let's just play it out. If let's say Falcone probably has been with more than one woman. If you did something that because the Phantasm was over the death of her father, if he had another child and they didn't know that it was actually Riddler that killed it and thought it was Oswald that killed her father and kind of went in through that angle of that's why she's mad or whatever, that would be or whoever is mad at her.
I'm sure they'll find one, but that's my choice. I would love to see a
I would like
Phantasm in the movie.
Or Maroney's kid, how they got him. Okay, actually, again, you and Catan haven't spoke as much. Go ahead. Do you have any complaints about the movie? You can go.
I have a complaint about the movie.
Okay,
And it
this is
could be
Max.
that
This is Max's turn. We've taught you heard. No offense to Mountain. Let Max speak.
He's drinking, so he has
I'm drinking.
patience. I mean, I said it. Some parts could have been trimmed down a little bit. You know, some things didn't need to carry so long.
What would you have trimmed down? Just curious.
I think the penguin chase scene was very long.
Okay, so I think that was just a little bit egregious with the explosions. Like, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then,
What kind of car was that? That is the greatest car
well,
ever. The
yeah,
fact he
it's
did
that
not die.
and the crash, and then they interrogate him and just leave him, and it's like, no, you caused like 100-car pileup. That somebody's gonna have to answer for that.
Yeah, it's like, bro, how many people died there? You know, like, I mean,
I will say, if I'm gonna criticize Black Widow for just the death and injuries, that will be my one. Like, great, amazing, cool scene. But Penguin, like, not being hurt, I wish he didn't flip over. It should have been one flip, and it should have been one flip. But how
Yeah,
many
for
times he
real.
flipped? I'm like, he would have died.
Yeah.
All right, like, or would be he would be in the hospital. Okay,
Speaking
I'm
of, like,
sorry, I just
surviving
can't let
stuff.
it go.
speaking of surviving stuff, like Batman definitely should have died when he dove off the GCPD with with the Batwing, and he like freaking like hit the bridge. I'm like, bro should have died 100%.
But he shot his parachute, right? Like it just got
He did. He
smashed.
still hit such a velocity that I mean, he just like gets up and walks it off. Like he should at least broke every bone in his body.
That bat suit can take some damage.
Yeah. So when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh! But like,
Yeah, that was
I
like
wish I wish they didn't do that.
Hmm.
But I did like how like kind of like how you said earlier, Josh. That it was like Batman year 2 or so. So he messes up a lot. Like he has trouble fighting with a bunch of people around him, and then like when he's on top of the GCPD, he's like scared of heights. He's like, oh my god. But I do like how they have like the Batwing suit because that's more realistic. It's more aerodynamic than like the cape. So I mean, I like how they did that.
It's cool.
I was thinking the same thing. Go ahead, Ian.
It's cool. It's cool how he has for people who have seen the Mandalorian. He has the Beskar armor when he gets shot. I mean, it makes sense. That's just something I was thinking about when I saw it.
He's indestructible.
He's
Yeah,
just taking
that thing can take a bullet, man.
Definitely got him. Pretty good.
Oh yeah, well that's another thing I wish they did because like I don't care what kind of armor you got, he got hit with like so many bullets close range. I would have liked that they showed like him take out the suit and seeing like the effects of that.
Yeah,
Beating because there's no way you're taking that. I don't care what kind of armor you got, unless you're Marvel and got adamantium or vibranium, whatever the heck it is. So
I mean, they kind of did a good job, but in the end, when he took that buckshot to the chest, and he was like out of it, and Catwoman saved him.
But in the tunnel, forget when he was doing near the end with Falcone, he was taking machine guns to the chest, like, and from multiple people. So
he took a explosive device to the face.
Yeah.
And walked away.
That was another thing. I was like, his face should be messed up or something.
Yeah.
Well, I wish they had him like.
This part's done.
Yeah. I wish they had him like at least run away.
Yeah,
so they could have done like he got knocked out. I was like,
Took a bomb straight to the face. And
I was like,
off.
Batman, you see that coming down? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get out of there! What are you doing?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem with modern superhero movies. Because even like Marvel, Black Widow should have been dead at least 50 times in her.
Dude, don't. We'll get into that in another podcast, but don't get me started on that.
I think that's
Yeah,
the problem with modern movies. Is they make these people so indestructible. Like Fast and Furious. There's no way any of that stuff could ever happen.
And
Yeah,
that's why
well,
this movie's
Problem with modern
enjoyable.
movies.
That's why this movie's enjoyable to me because it feels real.
Yeah.
Like everything that happens, like it's not over dramatic, like for over dramatic sake. You really feel like the characters are having struggles and pain and things that are bad can happen instead of like other shows where it's like, I'm not just gonna call it Marvel. Like, there's other movies nowadays with heroes and other things like that, and you just don't feel any fear for the main character,
No, I mean,
like at
I
all.
agree. That's the problem with modern movies. A lot of times they just gloss over some of these.
Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
like. Most times there's no real stakes. You know.
This is a random observation of the movie, but did anybody get the sense that that little boy that Batman kept looking at is eventually going to be Robin? Did anybody get that
Like,
vibe?
some
I thought
got
he was
that
going to
sense
adopt
too.
him.
I hope
Yeah,
not.
Anyone know
well,
what
'cause-
was the mayor's
well-
last name? I can't remember.
I can't remember, but like, but,
Okay.
and then Alfred mentioned that he was in a circus. I'm like, okay, I feel like we're getting some.
Oh, did
And
he?
then they mentioned,
Mhm.
and then at the very end, Catwoman said she's gonna go to Bloodhaven, which is Nightwing's territory.
Territory.
Ah.
Mhm.
Okay.
I missed all of that what you said, but again, I had a unruly patron, a seat over from me, which is again the best $30 I've ever wasted on accident. Having space between me and that guy because
But,
I miss a good 5 or 10 minutes of this movie because again, homeboy's farting beside me. And he's talking to himself the whole time, and I'm looking over there to see if anybody's beside him. And he's sitting there by himself. I'm like, what the heck is wrong with this guy?
But yeah,
Yeah,
there's like
it was
several.
distracting.
There's at least 2 scenes where like he's just looking at this kid, and I don't know. I just kind of get that vibe. That's like, that could, that could be like
Because
their
that's
Robin.
because it's the same kid he like let the helicopter picks up, and he's right there with him, right?
No, that's
No,
that's
it's
a
different.
girl.
Kid.
It's
Oh,
a
okay.
different person.
Like,
But
in the stadium, yeah, 'cause he does save the kid in the
In
stadium.
the
No,
stadium.
That's not
yeah.
kid. No, I'm talking
Very
about
end.
the mayor's kid.
Oh,
Because
Yeah.
he looks at him twice because when he I know the first time is clearly because he's looking at the kid because he sees himself in that kid because he saw his parent, he saw his dead dad, but then the second time was at the funeral, and so I don't know, I just kind of got a little Robin vibe. I don't think they would do it in this trilogy, but it's just like a potential thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Can we not?
But I did enjoy. They kind of showed you, like we talked about it. They didn't show his parents' death, but they showed you with this Batman, like he's really not over it. Like, and when he sees that kid, you could just see him flashing back. You could see in his eyes, he's flashing back to like, oh my gosh, I remember when that was me because I saw my parents die. And when they said, yeah, he was the first one to find him, Batman was right there.
Max, Ian, anything?
I'll go off topic. As someone that likes Catwoman a lot, this is my favorite version of her. My only critique is I wish she had the ears. I don't think she had the tail either, which I know is silly to talk about, but it's honestly how I feel.
Like her mask has
She had the ears.
at the end. And one thing I noticed was
really
like
see
they did the same storyline in Dark Knight Rises of her telling Batman to leave with her, and yet
Yeah, and like
that's
he
that
does
same plot point.
I liked her.
Please,
Her
man,
actress
bro,
was really good.
Zoe Kravitz did a pretty good job. I don't know if she as good as Anne Hathaway. I'd have to. Yeah, I
Bro,
need to
she's
rewatch
better,
it.
bro. Come
You think
on.
she's better? You think she's better?
Yeah, I agree with Ian on this one. She's probably the best
Hey,
iteration.
Hey,
Yeah.
Josh, you gotta
Catwoman.
remember, Anne
Yeah.
Hathaway is his number one.
I know.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
Anne
saying.
Hathaway is like. mwah.
I want you to just appreciate the character.
Well, hey, look,
not-
Josh. Am I losing? Am I losing either way? Am I losing either way?
Okay,
You're right,
okay,
though.
let's
You're right,
not,
though. You're right,
we
though.
do
I'll
not
give you
know
that.
who's watching this, so let's not get in trouble on YouTube.
First of all,
right?
First of all, the
Don't get
best
me in trouble on
Catwoman
YouTube.
is Michelle Pfeiffer. Let's start that right there.
No.
she's
Top
good.
No.
three.
That's
Top
no
three.
way.
Hey, you know what, Max? That's another role that hasn't missed yet? Because
Oh,
every
Halle
single one
Berry.
of them is great.
Holly Berry.
In the
Yeah,
Batman,
well, that's not-
in the
that's not
Batman
tied.
universe.
Oh,
Okay.
in the Batman
okay.
movies, you're right.
You know what, Josh? I wasn't even counting. I completely forgot about that movie from my memory. But all right, I got you.
You know, I think Halle Berry also wishes she could forget that movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Can
Yeah.
somebody talk about Catwoman in a way that, like,
Yes.
the acting
Well,
and
no,
I
Selena
got you,
Kyle?
Phil.
did a great
I got
job
you.
acting.
Can we go back
I'll
to
let
that?
you do it.
All right, so let's just start with Zoe Kravitz's range in this character. She went through so many different emotions in a short amount of time. First, like dealing with the whole time she's been dealing with Falcone being her legitimate father, and then of course working for him at the club, and then her friend going missing, and then trying to get out of town, and then trying to save the day. You know, she's coming to terms with all this in a short amount of time, and her character, I think they wrote it out perfectly. They don't miss a beat with Zoe Kravitz on this. Like they show all her best parts, and I wouldn't say there are any worst parts. Like she killed the character. I love it.
Yeah, one of my
I will
favorite
say-
lines she
Yeah, go ahead.
says when Batman makes some throwaway line about her having the cats, and she's like, "What can I say? I have a thing for strays." And there's been many
Yeah.
times like with Batman and her relationship, like I just didn't feel the relationship in the other movies with Batman and her, but this felt more genuine. Like another scene too, like when they're going down on their motorcycles together, you kind of feel like, okay, these two people kind of belong together. The scene that's also heart wrenching is when she's about to kill her father, and then Batman like stops her because basically it's kind of like a movie trope, but it's a movie trope I like, where he doesn't want her to kill because Batman himself does not kill. And so he feels like if she does that, she's going to go down a real dark path. And so it's really honorable. And when you say like it's the Dark Knight chivalry, he really does have that. It's just I love their duo characters together.
Yeah, I will say it's interesting. I'm not aware of any other medium. I mean, has it been done where Catwoman is Falcone's daughter? Is that like a common thing?
I think this was the first.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's usually just like a secretary or something.
Yeah.
But of course, she was like Anne Hathaway's was like a cat burglar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked her movement too. Like when she's first, like Bruce is watching her leave the apartment, and you're like, okay, this is different.
Yeah.
Let's see where this goes. It turns out, yeah.
I will say I had one problem with this Catwoman. What was up with her? And I can't be the only one that thought this. What was up with her leaving that fridge wide open? Like the whole time, she left it wide open. What was up with that?
Oh my god!
The whole time, like, close the damn fridge.
I didn't even notice.
That really did not bother me that much.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me. It bothered me. I'm like, close
I didn't
the
even
fridge.
notice.
I didn't know.
I did not notice. I honestly did not notice.
Someone
didn't
cares
see that
about his
fridge wide
electricity.
open the whole
Okay,
time.
I'm surprised you noticed that in Vitamin J. That's something I would have expected from him with how cheap he is. Like, do you know how much electricity you're wasting?
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, that was
Okay. So there is the thing I liked about Catwoman. It's just a reference to a very old comic, but the scene where she scratches Falcone's face, she does that in a comic book. So I thought that was
Oh,
cool.
that's okay. I
Max,
know.
you about to say something?
Well, I was going to say the one moment I didn't like with Catwoman, which wasn't her fault, is that when she's fighting Batman, there's one part where it's pretty rough CGI. I think.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
He does like a double kick, back kick, and it's like, I'm like, that looks kind of rough.
I didn't know.
It looks
No,
kind of like, you remember Blade 1 or 2 when he's fighting on like the billboard? They look kind of like rubber like that.
No, I didn't. I didn't really notice it. But I will say I had the caveat of I only had 3 hours of sleep until I watched the movie. So.
Also, I did like how they did, like when Batman and Catwoman fought. Batman clearly had the upper hand the whole time.
Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
he's not trying to whoop her.
Yeah.
butt.
Hunter asked if they've done the whole Catwoman and Falcone's daughter. I just looked it up. Apparently, in the new iterations, they have been touching on that. So.
Oh, okay. But I had never heard about it, but so
Yeah.
I thought it was a new interesting take on it.
No, I didn't really remember it, but I just wanted to look it up as y'all were talking to see. But so yeah, apparently it's been like alluded to, but I don't think it's anything concrete. At least not that I see. I don't feel like digging too much. But if someone listening knows, they can let us know in the comments.
Yeah,
And if
drop
it's
them
in a comic, let us know because I would like to read it.
What I also want to hit on is the end, because I heard some people complain about the second half of the third act.
What were they complaining about?
For some of them, they didn't like the Riddler using those crazies and all, which I don't really get.
Yeah, I mean that's fine.
I thought
It's like a cult type thing.
Yeah, that's what I liked. It was a modern version. Well, also what I liked is what it and then it revealed to like this guy's a serial killer. All serial killers have followings. They
Well,
do.
it's kind of
Like
like
just to shock you, a lot of them have a lot of followers and
well,
people
like
who
Charles
agree with
Manson.
them. Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah,
it's something that Hunter would probably agree with. Hunter's like, it just shows the dangers of social media and
Exactly. Exactly. See, this is. I told you the danger of social media. You have a freaking serial killer who encourages hundreds of people. See, this is why you gotta be careful.
Yeah.
And to me, it actually makes sense that this would happen because, like you said, Phil, serial killers they get followings, and in this day and age, there's so much pent up anger in certain demographics. I
Sure.
can see them easily being inspired by something like this.
Yeah. Well, and I liked when you see, because this is what caught my eye when they're on the computer, and I kept reading this because I read the side stuff thinking maybe that's important. When I originally saw what kind of rifle I'm bringing a rifle, what kind of gauge, I'm like, what are they talking about during that when the video's playing? I'm like, what on earth are they talking about? And then when you see it, then when they allude to it, I'm like, oh, that's what they're hinting. Because I kept looking at that side stuff while the video was playing.
Oh, you go ahead, Big Joshy.
Oh, I was gonna agree with Phil on that take there because like sometimes you kind of get lost in the movie where you're not actually reading the newspaper clipping or like the Channel 5 news, whatever they had up on the TV, and there's like some key information in there, and that was more regarding the election status, but they kind of kept going to it with the start of the movie with the mayor. He was watching it. And I'm sure he was on the phone with someone. It was probably it could have been Falcone. They never alluded to who it was, but that could have been who it was, just based off of the context. Like that later in the movie, we found out that the Falcone was in the mayor's pocket, or vice versa. However, you'll have you. The main thing was that you kind of have to stay in on the clues, just like Batman. There's the detail is in the clues there, all the extra stuff going on, and not really background, but more of like you're not supposed to notice it at first. And I can't wait to watch this movie again so that I can go back.
Yeah,
and,
I need to
more
rewatch.
attention. Yeah.
I was gonna say one thing I liked what Matt Reeves did with the Riddler is that he essentially took the Zodiac killer and put him in modern times because he copied almost everything he did. The glasses inside the mask, that's what the Zodiac did. The cars to police, the ciphers, the purposeful misspellings, or in this case, purposeful mistranslation of Spanish. And I guess if you put the Zodiac in today's times, I guess he would utilize social media and the dark web or however you want to do it to kind of get a following, but that's essentially what he did. Just took him from the 70s, I think that's when he was, and then just put him here. So that was interesting.
Yeah, it was a really good take on the character. It's definitely a lot better than the Jim Carrey version, even though I guess that's I don't know if you consider that more comic accurate because they he wore the green spandex and all that crap, but I don't know. This one's a lot better. Again, he's I really appreciate the Zodiac Killer take on it. I thought that was really cool.
I really
I don't know if I should say cool for a serial killer, but
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Again, yeah.
Like I said, I really appreciate like this. People say there's no fun. Like this.
Rambo! We love you, Rambo.
Like this movie is like a no nonsense type movie. Like Batman's not here to have fun, to play around, to hold people's hands. He's here to try to save millions of lives.
And I think one of the parts that really got me was that whole thing where they keep talking about I'm vengeance, and it went viral. And at the very end, if you guys noticed it, and I caught it the second time. If you remember the funeral scene, the person who's talking to Batman and who was back there was like saying that stuff about, oh, I think I know who you are. That's the guy he beats up at the end and says, I'm vengeance.
Dude, I liked how he brought that up. He's like, "Do I know you?" I really like that part.
Yeah, and then it's like a wraparound. But I think the part that got me was in the beginning. Bruce says, "Am I making a diff? I don't think I'm making a difference," which is something that was hit again in The Dark Knight, and I loved how they did it here. Of like he realizes he can't he just wanted to be vengeance to all of the criminal underworld. That's all he wanted to do. He started realizing he can't just be vengeance to improve the city, because if he's just vengeance, he like because he inspired the Riddler. He inspired the Riddler. The Riddler got it was the reason because he saw Batman. He thought he could do all this stuff, and he inspired all these other crazies. But he's starting to realize like he needs to be more than that, and he says that I need to be more. I need to be hope. And that scene at the end when he's carrying that girl, I thought was masterfully done. Is now you're seeing that, and I think this is where you're going to see that more to Bruce Wayne and more to Batman, like them realizing, oh, I need to do more. And Josh kind of said it even as possibly, and the mayor even says it as Bruce Wayne. I want you to do more. Like I need to do more to help this.
Oh
city
yeah,
and
they'll
to
definitely
save
touch
it.
on that.
Yeah. I really liked how, like, remember in the very beginning when Batman saves that person, he was scared of him. He's like, "Oh, please don't hurt me." I really liked how the end, when he reaches a hand to help someone, like they're not scared anymore. I thought that was really cool, like contrast.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
For the sequel, I hope they keep it the same like fighting style.
Yeah, I mean, the fighting style was brutal.
Yeah.
I think one of your touched though, I do love how the fact he didn't knock everyone out. Like when he enters the club, the two guys he beat up first came back to try to fight him again.
Yeah, see, I really like that because that's more realistic. Like people don't get knocked out in one punch unless like you're freaking like. I mean, if Mike Tyson punched me in one hit, I'd probably knocked out. But you know what I mean.
Even if I was able to get back up, I'm still playing dead.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to take another punch from the Batman.
Yeah, I did really
Yeah,
enjoy
look.
the joke of like when he punched Jim Gordon. And he's like, "Man, I wish you should have pulled that punch." And he's like, "Oh, I did." And it's like, "Oh, that's such a Batman thing to say."
I am looking forward to see how their relationship goes in the future because I think they have great chemistry.
Yeah, I thought the chemistry in this movie was perfect.
Oh yeah, I think so.
I
And
liked,
how he reacts to him, as opposed to every other cop, like kind of that.
Yeah.
There's a difference between Jim Gordon's his relationship and other cops in his relationship, because even that one main cop that's with him, like at first you see him stare at him, then he hates him, and then kind of at the end he's kind of helping him, but he still doesn't fully like him or trust him.
Yeah, what were you saying, Ian?
it was funny too how Batman knew the Riddler wasn't gonna go after Gordon because he's not corrupt, which I thought was a kind of a cool line. Because even the Riddler kind of like he had this weird deranged thought, like he thought he was trying to be like Batman's partner, and Batman's like, no, we're not working together.
I'm interested to see next movie later on. How much time is going to be between this one and the next one?
I know we're talking spoilers. At the end, guys, we do see what is probably going to be the Joker.
Yeah.
He talks to Riddler, but Matt Reeves has stated that his intention is not to have Joker in his movies. We'll see what Warner Brothers makes him do.
If that, don't even mention them.
Yeah, please. Like, there's so many other villains. Like,
yeah.
I know why they're going to do it, because Joker is money.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like, I mean, can you live up to Joaquin Phoenix and Heath Ledger? I mean, the odds are no. And so it's like, why even bother? Because again, you're definitely not going to be Heath Ledger, and like, I mean, at best, you can be Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, just do another villain.
Which I agree, because I'm interested in what they're going to do. Because if you look, I listened to a lot of Matt Reeves interviews before this movie came out, and he was talking about like when the Ben Affleck Batman was supposed to come out. They wanted him at one point to direct it, but he said, no, I don't want to direct this. He's like, I think the movie's great, but it's not my vision for it. So a reason I could see he might not do Joker is because he's been very staunch, and Warner Bros. Has been with him of like, if I'm doing this movie, because even why this movie was so long, it's the movie I want to do. I'm not doing a movie that somebody already wrote a script, and it's not my movie. It's great, but it's not going to have what I wanted to do. I want to do my take, and they 100%. Shout out to Warner Bros. On this. They have 100% allowed him. I think they're starting to understand. Allow the director to get their vision more, and that's
I'm a
why
big
I
Joker
think
fan.
it's
He's my
good.
favorite. Joker's my favorite villain, but I don't need to see another one because they already have done so many great portrayals.
Yeah, he's been
Like
done
Jack
his best.
Nicholson. Heath
Well, I
Ledger.
think Joker is just so intertwined. It's like if you did a Superman series and you didn't do Lex Luthor. It's
Yeah.
like
I'd be fine if they saved him for the third movie. To me, that makes the most natural
Yeah.
sense. You end
Yeah.
Batman on his arch
Yeah.
enemy.
But I'm also
Yeah.
with you. Like my big thing is if Matt Reeves does not want to do Joker, do not make him do Joker
Yeah.
because we've seen that with Spider-Man 3 when you make a director who has several other great movies, make him do a character he doesn't want to do, and you could kind of see like the movie wasn't as good as it should have been.
To be devil's advocate, though, I will say, like, if you listen to, if just observation of us talking during this whole podcast, like, we've talked about, like, pretty much every single main character, and we liked every single main character. So I feel like with the writers and, like, the directors, I feel like they know what they're doing. They could give us a show. I'm not going to say it's going to be better than the other Jokers, but still, like, I have, like, when you watch movies and you see certain directors and see the writing and see the world building, it gives you confidence in certain things. If you told me before this movie, I would be like, you know, like I wasn't a fan of Batman vs Superman. I thought it was fine, but I just didn't like it like a lot. Like if it was like that level, I'd be like, no, please don't bring back Joker. But after seeing this movie, I'm like, I could see them doing something cool.
Yeah, I have no doubt they'll do a great job, but they just don't need to. Joker's they need to give other villains a shine.
I mean, I will say I trust Matt Reeves because he has not missed since he did Cloverfield. I mean, Cloverfield, the second and third Planet of the Apes in this Batman movie. I mean, he's not missed. I mean, he's had nothing but bangers.
Yeah.
I mean, I trust him completely.
Yeah.
They just don't need to. That's the thing.
Well, I mean, I agree, but
I mean, technically,
if
he
he
didn't need
chooses
to make
I
another
trust Matt
Batman,
Reeves'
but
direction.
we did it.
Yeah, that's true.
We did it. Which I'm with you. I'm like, if he does not want to do it, do not force him to do it.
For sure.
Now, two things that I forgot to bring up. One, I'm interested in, because he said he had that deleted scene with Joker of Batman used him to get him in the mind, which I think might allude to Batman previously fought Joker and put him in because somebody had to put Joker in Arkham Asylum, I think, and that's what I think got Batman his reputation, because you saw the criminal underworld feared him, and it's like, well, he had to probably do something big to make the criminal. So I'm wondering, was it like Joker used to be a big criminal, Batman put him in Arkham, that's why all the criminal underworld's like, oh, this guy's the real deal. The second thing I really love they did was what they did with the Waynes and the Arkhams, because the second I heard that, I was like, oh, Arkham was in Arkham, and you can see, because the new HBO series is supposed to be based on Arkham Asylum, so I'm kind of interested where they go with that, because it's in the same universe of like, oh, they're bringing him Arkham Asylum, and now the Waynes are attached to Arkham, so that's kind of like a whole interesting new dynamic, because I don't know if that's been done before.
Yeah, I will agree with you on that, Phil. When they had made that mention in the movie, my eyes lit up. I was like, oh, okay, I see the comparison. There we go. And then the whole backstory between Thomas Wayne, how he wanted to set up the foundation or the fund for Gotham City, and then it fell right into the hands of corruption almost right out the gate. And then, Bruce doesn't know anything about that. He's more like going about the day-to-day action of Batman, and then of course once the Riddler pops up, you can see him trying to take that down, like the actual villain. After that, you don't really see much of him like patrolling the streets or anything. It's more plot driven for all of the Batman scenes, like the questionings, interrogations. But I will say that all the choreography was great, and the storytelling as well. I just loved it.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, I think we got pretty much most of it, unless anybody else got something to say.
Go see the movie.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, go see it. If you've seen it, go see it again. Go put your money out in these theaters.
Hey, real quickly, we're gonna rate it out of 10. Let's go ahead. Max, what you rate out of 10?
On a Phillips scale or a normal human being scale?
However you want to do it. You know,
Average,
I like the
average human.
enthusiast.
8.
Vitamin J. I was just hoping somebody else was going to jump in.
Yeah, they're 8 sounds about right. 8.5. I'd have to watch it again before I can give you a concrete answer. But it's the base is 8 for me.
Okay. Big Joshy.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with Max and Jacob. My initial thought was 8.5. There was great elements to the movie that I loved that kept it going throughout. So I'll say a solid 8.5.
D3.
I agree with Josh. I give it 8.5.
All right. Mountain, are you still there?
Yeah.
Nah, this part's staying in. No, I'm kidding.
Bro, I'm feeling
Mountain, what you think?
Okay, so again, I need to see this movie again because I only saw this movie with 3 hours of sleep. But I thought it ran a little bit long at sometimes. I got a little bit tired during the middle of it. I thought it was a little bit of a lull. But I mean, a solid 8 out of 10. It could be up to an 8.5, 9 after I watch it again. But I mean, again, I thought the performances, there was not a bad performance in this movie. Everyone did fantastic. Actually, I rewatched it again to finalize it, but right now I'd probably say 8 out of 10.
All right, Miller?
Yeah, I'm going to push that up to 9 out of 10. Just as someone who doesn't love, like, a lot of superhero stuff, just because, like, it just doesn't feel real, and also just world building, like I touched on before, this movie did a really good job at feeling like an actual, like, Batman. And so for me, like, and I would say it's above, like, well above average for other movies I've seen in the same genre. And there was definitely a lot of love to the characters and a lot of, like, thought process with the chemistry between other characters. So I have to say, like, 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it.
Okay. Me, again, like I said, I thought it was so amazing. I'm gonna probably put 8.75. Definitely. I would say for a couple things. One, Matt Reeves came through on everything that he said. He said this would be a more grounded version. He was correct. He said this was going to be more of a noir style. He delivered that, and he said it's going to be a younger Batman. Everything he said from the beginning, which again I don't understand why some of these critics are so mad. I'm like, Matt Reeves said all this stuff. If you've been paying attention to every interview that he said he would do this, and you have a problem with it. I'm like, well, I don't know what else he was supposed to do. So amazing job on that fact. From the beginning to the end. I'm one of the few. I didn't think it really dragged too long. I thought it was great. I didn't really notice it. Great job casting. I can't wait to see the sequels. I think there's pre-production. They started pre-production for the next one, so they're writing the script and stuff like that for the second one. So I'm very interested in where else they go from it, and they hooked us, and so thank you all for subscribing. Thank you all for watching and hearing our take on the our Batman review. If you like before, let us know what your comments were, any opinions. Maybe there was something we talked about that you wish we discussed more, or maybe there were some thoughts that you had of something we didn't discuss. I want to give a special shout out to Grote Jurgoat. My bad if I butchered that. So him, believe Horse Potter, as well as several other people have been commenting. Sorry, I can't remember everybody who's commented off the top of my head. Somebody can pull that up real quickly. Katan, if you can pull up all the people who've commented. Thank you for your comments. We've been seeing it, and thank you guys for watching. My name is Legacy. Please like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and we'll start giving you more material. And hey, is there a movie that you might want us to go ahead and review? Or maybe it's a movie that just came out, or maybe there's an older movie that you've done that you might want us to go back and review. Because speaking of it, now I kind of want to do like a review of like The Dark Knight. Yeah, so I'm Legacy. You can follow me at wisdom_legacy.
My name's Max. You go ahead and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and then, like the man said, like, subscribe, help us keep growing.
I am Bobby D3. If you are interested in reading any of my fantastic books, links will be provided below.
It's your boy, Big Joshy55. If you like this episode of Core Discussions, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, follow. If you have any comments that you want to leave, add them in the comments section. We'll be here all week.
Yeah, I'm Ian Catan. My YouTube channel is IanInLesbian. I make a lot of fun uwu content there, so feel free to check it out. And yeah, see you in the next video.
And I'm Vitamin J. You can find me on Twitch at Vitamin J.
My name's Hunter/Mountain. Do yourself a favor and stay away from social media. You'll be a lot happier if you do.
And you won't turn into the Riddler according to...
Exactly. See, it comes full circle.
Thank you guys again, and let us know what you think. And, you remember that vengeance is not the only way. So, thank you, and let the discussions begin.
You were so tough. You had it all under control. Now enough is enough. Gonna take back what you stole. Give it up, 'cause now I'm back. Take it easy, sweetheart.